My name is Sabrina Simmons. I have 5 kiddos. I do talent acquisition full-time, but what I'm really passionate about is victim advocacy, especially in regards to sexual abuse. I really just have a passion to raise awareness and erase the stigma regarding sexual abuse. When you experience something like sexual assault, whether you're the primary victim or the secondary victim, it can be such a lonely place. And at times you feel so helpless. Am I going to feel this way forever? Nobody talks about sexual assault. At the beginning of this entire situation, I was overcome with a lot of fear. I was a fear for the unknown, fear for my daughter and what healing would look like from her. Will she be able to get past this and rise up? I was so fearful. I was afraid that this was never going to get better. It was a really hard place to be. I let that fear isolate me. I stayed inside a lot. It was hard to talk to people because nobody knows how to talk to you. And you feel like they know even if they don't know. The moment that I sat in that courtroom and read my victim impact statement, and I got to look at Justin and say, you're never going to be a part of our life anymore. And when I said that, I felt like I was on top. I felt so powerful in that moment. I think that was the moment that I really took my power back. I want people to know that if they've experienced something similar, or if they've been through domestic violence or sexual assault, that you're not alone. Your voice matters. Your story can be so powerful. I hope you're able to walk in your truth, but also know that your story could be somebody else's survival guide. This isn't your whole story, it's just a part of it, and it does get better. My name is Sabrina Simmons, and I am a boss lady. My name is Sabrina Simmons. I have 5 kiddos. I do talent acquisition full-time, but what I'm really passionate about is victim advocacy, especially in regards to sexual abuse. My daughter was molested by my ex-husband, and ever since then, we've started working with Prevail for their victim advocacy and on their survivor advisory council. I really just have a passion to raise awareness and erase the stigma regarding sexual abuse. My daughter was the victim of my ex-husband, and at first she was in denial with what happened to her. She was like, I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine. She didn't want to talk about it. There was a lot of shame surrounding it because, your body doing exactly what it was designed to do told her something very different than like, hey, this is wrong, it shouldn't be happening. Now, though, she's gone through so many different therapy groups and counseling. She does individual therapy, and she decides to speak about her experience and what she went through, and I think that's really awesome. I love to see the growth that has occurred in her, and I just beam with pride every time she talks because she went from this scared little 5-year-old girl to now this 17-year-old who is using her voice and knowing that her voice has so much power, and she really just helps people to feel like they're a lot less alone, and I think that's amazing. I decided that I always want to speak my truth. When you experience something like sexual assault, whether you're the primary victim or the secondary victim, it can be such a lonely place, and at times you feel so helpless because you're like, this is never going to end. Am I going to feel this way forever? The perpetrator did happen to be my ex-husband, which added a whole other level to that, and I had so much hurt and so much fear, and nobody talks about sexual assault. It's not something that's talked about very often, and I thought after our victim impact, after I was able to give my victim impact speech during the court hearing, I was able to look at my ex-husband, the perpetrator, and say, "You're never going to be a part of our life anymore." And I just felt really powerful in that moment. And after my victim impact statement, the judge came up to me and was like, "I thank you so much for sharing." His attorney came up. There were people in the room who were in tears, who also approached me. And I thought, you know what? If I could impact people in this room, imagine what more I could do with our story. My daughter came forward, so she experienced the sexual assault when she was 5 or 6. So from the time she was 5 until the age of 6. So it had occurred for about a year, and she was scared. She was told, if you tell, you're going to be in trouble, and she really believed that. So Chassey's Place, which is now, I think, Indiana Center for Prevention of Abuse and Suicide, I think is the correct name now, formerly Chassey's Place. They came to her school and did a body safety program. So they talked about like good touch, bad touch, body safety. And she sat through one of those programs, nothing. Went through the program again in 2018. And it was at that point she thought, maybe I should say something about what had happened to me. And we were on our way home from school in the car talking about what had happened with the body safety program and how they felt about it. And her brother was making comments, and you could just tell that she was just really, really uncomfortable. So we got to the house, and we came inside. Her brothers went upstairs, and she sat at the table, and she was just really quiet. And I said, "I noticed I just felt like we needed to talk more about this. Red flags were just waving, really." And I said, I noticed you were really uncomfortable with that conversation. So I'm going to ask you, has that ever happened to you? Has anybody ever touched you inappropriately? And she said, yes. And when I asked her who, she said, it was Justin, who is my ex-husband. And immediately in that moment, I just wanted to, hold her and squeeze her. And so I did. And I told her, thank you so much for telling me, and that I was really proud of her. And I wanted her to know in that moment that this was never going to happen again. And I wanted to do what I could to keep her safe. And that's when our story began and when I decided to report. After I found out and moving forward, I think the hardest part was the should haves. I should have myself. I should have known. How did I miss this sign? Because there were signs, but that's not where your brain goes immediately, and you don't expect that from people that you love. I felt a lot of shame and guilt over not knowing. That was really difficult. I'm so glad I had places like Prevail to help me work through that, and therapy. Another thing that was really hard moving forward was, as moms, you want to be a fixer. You just want to fix everything. When a kid gets a boo-boo, you put a Band-Aid on it, right? But this is something so much deeper, with so many more layers, and you have to let your kids experience the hurt, because the only way that they're going to get through it is to essentially go through it and revisit and process. And that's really hard, because I didn't want them to hurt. I wanted to fix it. So after Brooklyn had disclosed, I had a plan to pack them all up, to get in the car, to drive to my mom's, because I wanted safety. But Justin came home before I could load the kids up, and he immediately knew. I don't know if it was the look on my face or what. And Justin was quite narcissistic from the beginning. Our relationship was rocky. He was very controlling, and I honestly was afraid of him. And so he saw my face and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Nothing. We're just going to go to my mom's." And he said, "Why?" And kept questioning. I don't know how he knew. He just did. And I said, "You touched her." And he said, "It was a long time ago. Please don't tell anybody. I'm going to kill myself. I will kidnap my youngest child. I'm going to kidnap Bryson, and I'm going to take him with me." And so I kind of sat in fear for a couple of days. I had to stay home for 3 days. Both of us stayed off work. He knew that if I went to work that I was probably going to report, and he knew that if he went to work I was probably going to report. So I was at home for a couple of days. I was able to get away the following day to call his sister and let her know what had happened. I promised Justin that I would not tell anybody and that I would try to get him therapy. And he let me go back to work after 3 days. And on that third day, I was an instructional assistant at the school, and I could barely make it through my first class. And I decided to grab my boss and say, this is what happened and I need help. So, sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing, because I know I'm going to cry, but we went into a separate room and she reported to the school counselor, who was able to contact DCS. And DCS first came and did their investigation. The kids were at school. We went from the school talking to DCS to the chair center, where we did a forensic interview. And really it just snowballed from there. I was told that he would be taken to the stress center because he was threatening suicide this whole time, and that it would be very discreet. When I got home, it was not discreet. My house was surrounded by police officers detaining him and taking him to the stress center, and then I never saw him again. After Brooklyn disclosed to me what had happened, and we were kind of just hanging out at home for a couple of days, I did have her and her brother go to school. My youngest was 3 at the time, so he did preschool, but I wanted them to have as much normalcy as possible. I really struggled because I didn't want Brooklyn to think that I was not telling anybody or that I didn't care. I told her that I was going to get Justin help, and that I was going to get her help, no matter what that looked like. I didn't want her to feel like she was in trouble. She knew that he knew, and he knew that she told. It made a kind of uncomfortable dynamic, and that was one of the most gut-wrenching things that I've ever experienced. I had to be careful about what I said to her about reporting, and that I was going to, because I didn't want her to tell him. It was just a really scary time. We still slept in the same bed together and had to just act like life was normal. According to Justin, everything was fine, and he was going to go get therapy, and he's not that person anymore. And he truly wanted me to believe that and go with it. When I asked Brooklyn when it occurred, she said it was when we lived at Papa's house, which was around the time that she was from 5 to 7. At one point, Brooklyn had a Snapchat, but I only let her add her cousins and her aunts, pretty much. It was more of like a fun thing for her to have. There was an account that added Brooklyn on Snapchat, and the name was similar to her cousin's Snapchat name, Zoe. And I thought at the time that was Zoe. And one day she had her phone sitting down, and I looked through it because she's my child and I have that right. I want to make sure that she's being safe and, not looking at the wrong things, or I just want that safeguard. And I picked up her phone and opened up the Snapchat from Zoe, and it said, "Come on, just do it." And so I asked her, what is Zoe trying to get you to do? And she said she wants me to send pictures of my private parts. And at that point, I knew, I didn't know in that moment when it was occurring, but I thought, oh man, Zoe's Snapchat has been hacked. That's somebody who is not who they say they are. And I was panicking, and I immediately went to Justin as my partner and said, what is I think Zoe's Snapchat got hacked. But come to find out, it was actually him pretending to be Zoe. He had gone so far as to save pictures from Zoe's Instagram, from Zoe's Facebook, and use them in the chat section of Snapchat. So Brooklyn really believed it was Zoe, and he used Zoe to show her pornographic images and ask for nude pictures and say, you should do these things with Justin. So then after I am hearing all of this, I asked Justin, what should we do? Should I take this to the police? I don't know what to do. And he's like, no, just block it. It'll be fine. Maybe we should just delete Snapchat for a while. So we did. We deleted Snapchat, and Brooklyn says, as far as she can remember, that's when it stopped. It never happened after that again. So Brooklyn came forward at the age of, oh wow, now I have to think about it. It was in 2018. So Brooklyn came forward at the age of 10. So imagine holding all of this inside and not telling a single soul for 3.5 to 4 years, maybe even longer. It's hard. The timeline is difficult because she was so young and has suppressed a lot of it. Going through this situation has really been eye-opening and has made my alert high. Which sometimes makes my kids a little bit crazy, but you can never be too careful. I always say, they're like, Mom, you always go to worst case scenario, but we lived that. We lived the worst case scenario, and you don't think that things like this happen to you, and they do. So I've really just been more careful about who I let come into my house, who I allow the kids to stay with. My toddler goes to daycare. This is the first child I have had to actually send to daycare since I have had littles. They, after Justin got detained, my kiddos went to school. So that was really difficult for me. I really struggled with putting him in a daycare center because I want to make sure that I know the people personally, and all of my family members work. And I really have to be able to trust people and to thoroughly investigate, I guess. I'm just a lot more aware. And I also teach the kids a lot about body safety and making sure that they use appropriate anatomy. That's one of the things that we were taught with Prevail is like a lot of the kids nickname their private parts like monkey or, whatever. And if you go to court and the child says, my uncle touched my monkey, they're not going to get convicted. So I just am trying to teach the kids about body safety, and that if at any point they find themselves in a situation that they're uncomfortable, that they can contact me. But my toddler goes to one of my best friends for daycare, and that is very reassuring. Throughout this whole process, there was a lot of unknown, especially in the very beginning. He went to the stress center, but was he going to go to prison directly after? Well, I didn't know what any of that would look like. He had a very large bond. It was $250,000. And while that feels like a lot, that there's always a small possibility that somebody's going to bail him out. And he wanted to have so much control over me that I was worried that he was going to leave the stress center and come find me. He knew where I lived, right? He lived with me. But his parents, thankfully, were not going to allow that. And when he got detained and he went to prison he went to, Hamilton County Corrections, I was able to meet with Prevail. I filled out the protective order. I got a protective order against him, and they assured me, like, if he violates this protective order, it's going to be more jail time, and you're safeguarded by this. I was also able to have my kids protected in that protective order as well. That made me feel really safe. And I feel like going through all of the classes at Prevail, they have group therapies and group counseling where Brooklyn could be with other kids her age who have also experienced, they called them sexual hurts. I feel like that's when Brooklyn really started to develop safety, because I feel like that's when she really started to feel safe, because she was around other kids who had also experienced it, and they were learning how to navigate that, how to deal with their feelings. And she just really knew that, like, what I'm feeling is okay, and I'm allowed to feel this way, and I wasn't wrong. So I think once that soaked in, that it wasn't her fault, that's when she started to feel a lot safer. When I think about healing, I think about moving forward and using our story to help other people. I just really have such a passion and a fire to promote education and to bring awareness to situations surrounding sexual assault, domestic violence, sexual abuse. So I think about sharing our story. I think about the way that my kids have grown and how this does not define us. We are not our past circumstances, and we're not what we've been through. This is just a part of our story. It's not our whole story. And if we use this, if we go through all of this and we don't do anything with it, then what good is it? I don't want it to be all for nothing. So I want to do what I can to help other people feel not so alone in this situation. And that's mostly what healing means to me. So I am wearing this shirt that says fearless. At the beginning of this entire situation, I was overcome with a lot of fear. I was fear for the unknown, fear for my daughter and what healing would look like from her. Will she be able to get past this and rise up? I was so fearful. I was afraid that this was never going to get better. It was a really hard place to be, and I let that fear isolate me. I stayed inside a lot. It was hard to talk to people because nobody knows how to talk to you, and you feel like they know even if they don't know, you know? It was just, I was fearful. I was so fearful. But I went to Prevail, obviously, for all of the group therapies and the counseling, and I had my own advocate, and Brooklyn had her own advocate. The fear started to subside a little, but the moment that I sat in that courtroom and read my victim impact statement, and I got to look at Justin and say, you're never going to be a part of our life anymore, and maybe one day I'll forgive you, but I won't be forgiving you for you. I'll be forgiving you for me, and I don't ever have to tell you. And when I said that, I felt like I was on top. I felt so powerful in that moment. I think that was the moment that I really took my power back. After the victim impact statement, my advocate from Prevail looked at me and said, "You were a lion, and they heard you roar." And I just thought, I want to be this fearless forever. I want people to know that if they've experienced something similar, or if they've been through domestic violence or sexual assault, that you're not alone. Your voice matters. Your story can be so powerful. I hope you're able to walk in your truth, but also know that your story could be somebody else's survival guide. And I think that that's really powerful. And I want you to know that this isn't your whole story. It's just a part of it, and it does get better. If Brooklyn was sitting here today, I would tell her how incredibly proud I am of her, and how when I look at her, I see the most fearless, beautiful woman, and I'm so proud of who she's becoming. My name is Sabrina Simmons, and I am a boss lady.